Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas. Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejados.
Because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
Hello, everyone. I'm Alicia.
And Nathan.
Welcome to episode 40 of Adventures and Mousecapades. Today, we are talking about how the Seattle Mariners are back in the playoffs after 21 years.
It's
Is that
a
right?
minor
21
miracle.
years?
Yeah, 21 years.
Oof.
The last time they were in the playoffs was right after we moved here.
Yes, and we went to a game and saw them throwing Monopoly money when Alex Rodriguez went up to the plate.
Yep.
So there's all this Monopoly money floating down from the stands because he moved to the
Rangers.
Rangers.
It wasn't all Monopoly money.
No.
So, yeah, that was a fun season. We actually, we moved here in March. I think we either watched or were at every single game that year.
Yeah. I mean,
Cool.
I've always been a Mariners fan.
Yeah.
And I just kind of pulled you along for the ride, and now you're a Mariners fan too.
We ended up we volunteered, worked at the All-Star Fan Fest that year too.
Yep.
It
was a lot of fun.
That was cool.
That was cool.
We made we were on the baseball card team, so you could show up and have your own baseball card made,
Yes.
a picture taken by a photographer and stuff like that. And so,
Yes.
yeah,
But we digress.
oh yeah, this isn't the Mariners podcast.
No, we
Oh.
are not talking about the Mariners. We are actually going to be talking about our most recent cruise on the Disney Fantasy.
Indeed, this was a ton of fun. This was supposed to be, as if you're following along, everybody knows, it's supposed to be our second cruise of our recent vacation trip down to Florida.
Mhm. Yep.
But it was our first and only cruise.
Yes. This was our return cruise, basically, after the pandemic.
Yes, this is our first time back.
Yep.
And we were sailing with the crew that we were with on our pandemic cruise that when the world shut down. The same players were involved. So it was Alicia and myself and Bill and Rachel and Andrew and Meredith and
our kids. We
and
had
the kids.
Sterling and Caitlin tag along with us on this one too.
Yeah.
Had a lot of fun.
It was a blast.
Yes.
It was a blast.
So we're just going to go through the trip report of this cruise and our experiences. There's a couple things that we've noticed that were very different from the last time that we have cruised.
Yeah.
Not everything has gone back to normal. There are some things that were glaringly obvious that weren't there anymore. And then some things have changed, some for the better, some not.
Yeah.
Well, as we remember, we'll talk about them with y'all.
Indeed. This was our second time on the Fantasy, I believe.
Yeah.
And the first time was many, many moons before.
2016,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I believe we talked about that in episode 35.
Something like that.
Or 36 is when we were talking about our fantasy cruise. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Oh, look at that. So we write these things down and we can refer to them? That's
Yes.
cool. That's cool.
Funny how that works.
Indeed.
Yes. So this cruise started out, we had just spent a week at Cocoa Beach.
Mhm.
And so our plans had changed slightly on how we were going to be getting onto the boat.
It was dynamic.
Yes. Initially, we were going to be coming from a hotel in the Port Canaveral area.
Yep.
And have the hotel shuttle just drop us off at port. What we had to do, because we were staying in a rental, was we had to drop off our rental car over at the Enterprise Alamo Hertz rental counter, I guess. I'm not sure what it was.
Not Hertz, but yes, Enterprise, Alamo, and I forget what the other company is. There's three of them that are all merged together.
There's one over in Cocoa Beach where we can drop off you can drop off your rental vehicle.
I had called a couple days before to see how this all worked because we had picked up this rental for 2 weeks, not thinking that we'd be able to get on our second cruise. And then that was from like MCO airport and returning back to MCO. And then Yeah, we changed those plans and talked to somebody. I talked to somebody at Enterprise and got it changed so we could drop it off there at the cruise port, which was great. And they said, "Oh, well, we have our shuttle buses that run from the from our building over to the boats, and they start running at 9:30, and the cruise terminal opens at 10. We were sailing concierge, so we don't have an arrival time. We could show up whenever we want, as soon as we want." And we said, "Great." So we showed up about 9:15 and dropped off the car and everything, and that went very smoothly. And then
Proceeded to wait for an hour and a half, maybe. It was a little crazy.
they had shuttles running. They were dropping people off from the ship to the building, but were refusing to take anybody from the building to the ships.
They just were not taking anybody to the Disney ships.
Yes.
They were taking them to other ships, but said that they weren't accepting people at the Disney ships yet, which was we found out later was incorrect. They
Totally
were
incorrect.
taking people.
Yeah.
They just, I don't know what the deal was.
Yeah, that was really frustrating.
Yeah. And Nathan wanted to do like an Uber or something, and I said no, and I should have said yes, because we did eventually get there. We were not the only people waiting to get over to the Fantasy from this location. There were other people as well.
Right. And there were other cruise ships that were sailing out and people doing the same thing, but it was really frustrating.
It was not a good experience for us. I don't know if it's like this for every time or if this just happened to be an oddity, but if we are in this boat again, we will likely just drop off and then get a Lyft or an Uber or a taxi.
Unless we don't care about time and we're showing up really late in the afternoon and we're not in the middle of that rush and it's like, a 1 or 1:30 kind of thing, then probably a little bit better. But no.
Well, we finally got to the port. We got off, and our luggage was all tagged and everything. And the person's like, "You have your luggage is tagged. You just go check in."
A porter from the terminal picked up all the baggage right off of the shuttle bus, and so we were done with everything at that point.
Yeah,
which is kind of nice. I was expecting to have to haul it over to the door, and no. And then we were kind of ushered through, and we went to the concierge outside check-in line.
Yes.
And then, because that was where they were validating that all of our pre-cruise testing and all the rest of that stuff was done. And then, we went in. There was a separate concierge line for the initial check-in that we went through. And there was really, I think, one party ahead of us. So we waited all of about 22 seconds. And then that was pretty quick. We got right through. They just checked our documentation. And then we went through the security checkpoint, the metal detector and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, like, I was still kind of flustered, but from standing up for an hour and a half and waiting for the bus and blah, 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 blah. But every step of the way, like, it was getting easier and easier, and being concierge was amazing. And we weren't waiting in lines. And an older cast member was at the end of the conveyor belt, if you will, for the metal detector. And I picked up my bag, and she looked at me and she's like, "You can relax now. That's the last test you have to pass. You're on vacation." And I'm like, "Thank you so much." Like,
yes.
I needed that. That was actually a special moment.
Yeah.
It was really cool. It was cool.
And then we took the escalator up into the terminal, I guess is what you would call this, for Disney Cruise Line. And it's been a minute since we've been here.
Yeah. First for myself and Sterling, it had been 6 years since we'd been in that building.
Yeah.
Because all of the other cruises that we've done have been West Coast, or New Orleans or whatever. So
and last time I was in here was in 2018, and it was just me and Caitlin. We were on a 13th birthday cruise. That was the last time we were in this terminal, and I know there's been updates to it.
Yeah, it was definitely different. Like for sure, there's a whole new concierge section.
Well, yeah. But like right when you go into it, it's we went through very, very quickly. We didn't really have a chance to stop and look at anything. We got to the top of the stairs. They saw that, I don't know, somebody saw us and said, here, come walk this way.
Well, we had gold concierge stickers that we had gotten from the first check-in point. Yep. And so that was kind of our fast pass through everything.
I mean, they walked us over to what used to be the old concierge lounge, which is, floor to ceiling windows. You have this gorgeous view of the ship right there in front of you.
Yeah.
And it has seating, I don't know, that can probably sit like around 20 or 30 people.
Yeah, it's really small. Yep.
Yeah. But they have since built a whole new concierge lounge area.
Yep.
And we were quickly ushered over towards that way.
Yep.
And this was pretty early. I'm trying to see when were we over in this spot?
We got there at about 11:20.
Okay. That seems later than I remember. But that's just all the waiting at the
Yes, exactly. Remember, it was 2 hours from when we dropped off the car until we walked into
That's
the
true. Yeah.
Anyhow.
So we got walked over into this really nice new concierge lounge, which is large. It fits a lot of people.
It has seating for everybody in concierge for sure.
Yeah, they had, for everybody on the original 4 ships anyway. They had water there. I didn't really get a chance to look around because we were not there for very long at all.
No, I think they had maybe some light snacks. They had waters and sodas and things like that available. It was pretty much cleared out of all of those drinks and snacks by the time we got there. Again, this was at 11:20, 11:30. The port does open at 10. So a lot of concierge folks show up and start their vacation early and are enjoying the spot and all the rest of that. So yeah, it's okay.
I know.
It's okay. Moving on.
You have a note that when we are walking into the concierge, remember that there's a cast member behind you saying something.
Yeah, so we were like literally, I think the last people or some of the last people into the concierge kind of waiting area, holding area there. And as we were coming in, there was a couple cast members talking and they said, okay, we're going to start boarding our back-to-backs now. So right at, that 11:20-ish, 11:30-ish time frame, that's when they started bringing on board folks who had sailed the previous week. Those folks are held in they have their own room, their own kind of waiting area. They're the last off the ship and then the first back onto the ship. And then quickly right after that, concierge folks were let in. We were, I think, the last folks out of the lounge because the only seating that was left to us was the furthest away from the door, but it's fine.
That's fine.
Not
there's
a
still
big
plenty.
deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice cushy seats.
Yeah. And it was great. We quickly got onto the ship and Sterling gave them our name to please welcome the Novak family and much excitement.
Yes.
And then we kind of circled around the lobby. Mickey and Goofy were there. And then we got in line to go to the concierge lunch, and which is there in Royal Court. Sorry, I'm gonna always get that one wrong.
Me too.
And and then I think there was nobody who got on behind us, and then there was probably a few minute delay, and then the family of the day was announced, and they were the first of everybody else to be let onto the ship and celebrated by all the cast and crew members and all the rest of that stuff. And so
I just want to say it was so nice to be on a Disney ship.
Yes.
Again, it had been too long.
Yes.
We love cruising. I mean, we love Disney, but we love cruising. It is such a relaxing vacation for us.
Yep. It had been 2.5 years, almost 2.5 years.
Yep.
Since the pandemic cruise that we were on. Again, we were like the last Disney guests globally because everything shut down when we were still in Panama.
Yeah. We haven't
and-
talked about that cruise yet. We should
No,
we should
we
do
will.
that sooner rather than later.
Yes, we will. It's coming up quickly in our list of trip reports and things like that. But yeah, we will get there.
Yeah.
For sure.
At the concierge lunch, the hosts of the concierge lounge sit down and talk with you, or they they say they will anyway.
Yes.
They did not get to us. We had
Yeah.
already been at lunch for over an hour, and nobody had talked with us yet.
And nobody, I don't recall, ever said that somebody was going to stop by.
They did.
Unless-
They mentioned it in the lounge before we went in.
Okay.
But it was it was kind of loud in there. There was a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to take that long between the 3 different hosts, though.
Right.
And we just didn't want to stick around.
I didn't realize that we were missing out on something, and we kind of found out later when they said like, "Oh, you didn't stick around very long at lunch," and I was like, "We were done with lunch and twiddling our thumbs." So
Yeah.
oh well.
Yeah. But lunch was good. We had, like we said, we were at the Royal Court,
Mm-hmm.
and the options available, they have like their own little concierge menu.
Of course.
I had a mixed salad and I'm going to butcher this pronunciation, panette pasta.
Sure. Good job.
Yep. It was quite good. It had a tomato basil sauce with goat cheese and spinach pesto.
Yeah, I had roast beef tenderloin, had sautéed wild mushrooms and a parsnip puree, and a Cabernet wine black truffle reduction. And yeah, it was actually quite nice as well. Enjoyed that.
I know food can be very subjective, but we always really like the food that's on the cruise. I know some
Yeah.
people don't, but we always like the options that they have. One of the things that I really like about Disney Cruise Line is if you don't happen to like what is being served in that particular restaurant that evening,
Mm-hmm.
you can look at the menus of the other restaurants
Yep.
for that evening as well and ask for something from another restaurant.
Yes.
I believe you can only do that on the Wonder, Magic, Dream, and Fantasy because they all have connecting kitchens. I don't think you can do that on the Wish, but I am not certain of that.
I remember hearing that or reading that somewhere. So that is by no means a confirmation, but also it is a correlation. That I do believe that your options are a little bit more limited there.
Yeah. The Royal Court restaurant is really nice. It has a lot of different mosaics of all the different Disney princesses. And they're really beautiful. I went up and took a bunch of pictures of all of them. Let's see. I'm just looking through my pictures now. I've got a Sleeping Beauty mosaic. There's one of Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella, Ariel, Little Mermaid, Snow White. And I'm pretty sure, I don't have all the pictures, but I think there's other. I remember seeing Jasmine somewhere and a couple of others.
Yeah.
But these, I love the mosaics. I think they're very pretty.
Yes. We also did, before we went on our grand tour, we also, of course, got dessert
Yes.
from lunch.
Oh, yeah.
Sterling got a sundae because, come on.
Ah.
What else are you going to do?
I think Caitlin and I shared a cookies and cream cheesecake,
I had a carrot cake.
which is more frosting than cake.
Yeah, I will. like, I'm usually not the kind of person who would say that there's too much frosting. The frosting to cake ratio was a little off on this one. It was good. I would have enjoyed a little bit more cake.
Little more cake.
Yes, it was good. It was good. I will say, you did mention that we really enjoy the food
Mhm.
on the Disney cruise ships, and I absolutely agree with that. I will say on this cruise, there were a few more iffy offerings.
It
It
doesn't seem to
wasn't as stellar as I think what we've experienced in the past across the board. There was some great stuff, don't get me wrong. Like, it was really good food, but there were definitely more misses
Yeah.
than I remember historically.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
And I don't know if that's just staff getting trained back up. And I mean, I'm sure they have a ton of new people. They just added, they're stretched thin from not being able to get people back. They're stretched thin by adding another ship. I will just note, it kind of came through a little bit in some of the food.
I have heard somewhere, just from various things we listen to and things that we follow, that a lot of their top-notch staff had moved over to the Wish for the opening of the new ship.
Got it.
We still had great cast members, but in some ways it was missing that little extra.
Yes.
I think.
Yep.
Yeah. Food-wise, probably about the same.
Yeah.
And after lunch, we went on a tour for the kids clubs because we haven't been on the Fantasy since they upgraded the kids clubs.
Right. And Sterling was definitely still of the age of kids club age. He was just about to turn 11, so technically 10. And so we wanted to go see what was up. And they have basically the whole afternoon of embarkation is open house at all of the kids clubs. And so even us older kids could walk around and take pictures and see what's what.
Yeah. And they have this a couple of times on the longer cruises. They basically shut down the kids clubs where there's not active activities going on, and they'll let people come in and check it out. It's at least twice during the cruises. So this is the first one. And we went a little bit different way to get to the kids clubs. We went to the aft elevators down to floor 5.
Yeah.
And then got to the kids clubs that way.
Yeah. I don't remember why we did, but we did.
We were just walking around.
Yeah, exactly. We had time to kill. We just wanted to walk around, reacquaint ourselves with the Fantasy since it had been so long. And as it turned out, that is a pro tip. So we went in and we got to the Oceaneer lab and checked Sterling in. And he got a magic band for the week so he can check in and out. We gave him privileges so he could check himself in and out of the clubs and all the rest of that stuff. But as we worked our way back forward, and we went through the Oceaneer lab, and then we went through the Oceaneer club, we did notice that the Oceaneer club, which that desk is very near the lobby, it's kind of like right off the lobby almost on the 5th floor, if I remember correctly, or 5th deck. That line was really long.
It was very long.
And so, pro tip, if you do need to check your kids in or want to check your kids in right then, I would go aft to Oceaneer Lab and go there. It seems like it is a road less traveled. And that people are coming from midship where they get on and going right to the club. So there you go.
And we had already registered him ahead of time in the app as part of our regular check-in. This was, once you're on board, you need to do just a check-in after the registration. And they'll give you, like Nathan said, they'll give you the magic band for the kiddos and just verify privileges on if they can or cannot go in and out by themselves. And that's going to be up to you, up to your kids and what they can do.
I do want to mention that with the magic band, that is just for checking the kids in and out of the club.
Yes.
They do not have magic band support for your rooms or for charging or things like that. So if you have a magic band from the parks, that's not going to be any good for you. It really is a magic band that is dedicated just for the ship. I hope they change that someday. It would be nice, in my opinion, to have just a magic band experience that worked across the board. But for now, you do have to have your key to the world card, and that's it's a proximity card that you can scan in to your room and use that as a charge card on board.
Yeah, we got to walk around the Oceaneer Lab and the Oceaneer Club, and these spaces are amazing. We haven't seen this since they've redone everything.
Yeah.
They added a whole bunch of different types of rooms. There's the main area that has, this is the Oceaneer Lab area, that has a little bit of a raised dance floor activity area. It has screens and colors and all sorts of stuff in the floor. that you can dance on, or
It's basically like the Saturday Night Fever dance floor.
yes. That was really neat. And then off of this main area, there are a bunch of rooms that you can go into. They have a Star Wars room.
Yeah, that was cool.
Which has little screen areas where you can fly spacecraft. They have like a BB-8 over there and some other fun stuff too. They have a Pixie Hollow area where the fairies like Tinkerbell and the other fairies are as well. They have Marvel Superhero Academy area, which is really neat. There's I don't know how to describe this. They have the portals from Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Like the window portals, and you can actually change what shows in there, which is neat.
Yeah.
And then they have a display case of various items, like the Tesseract is in there, the Black Panther mask is in there, Ant-Man mask, and a whole bunch of other stuff too.
Yeah, it was very cool. And a lot of this is over in the Oceaneer Club. The lab has its own themed rooms as well. They're a little smaller spaces, but they're mostly nautical themed activity areas. Caitlin found like this whole big setup of like medium sized colorful buckets and was joking like, hey, it's beer pong for kids. But
something like that.
Which, interestingly, about this time, we did get a message from the rest of the crew who had just arrived at the port there about 1:15 or 1:30 or so, and they were tailgating in the parking deck.
Yes.
So the rest of the company was soon to join us. They were not sailing in concierge this time, and they had to drop off Abby and things like that, and then made their way down to the port. And yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was funny to see, and it was funny and then not surprising to see that they were pre-gaming, tailgating in the parking deck. So
yeah,
it was fun.
There's also one more room that we didn't talk about, and that's Andy's room.
That was cool.
All the Toy Story toys. That was
very,
neat.
very cool.
And should note that Abby is a dog.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is their rescue pit bull.
Yeah.
Who is just the sweetest dog ever. And Bill and Rachel, if you're listening, make sure that she gets some snacks from me. And if she runs out of snacks, let me know, and I'll send some more, because I got to keep my girl happy.
It's important.
Yeah.
Yes.
Totally.
After we looked through the Oceaneer Lab and Oceaneer Club, we wanted to check out, I think this was Vibe, the teen area, which had also been redone since the last time that we were
dramatically.
there. Yes. This is a nice space. There's a lot of room, and they've upgraded it so it has an outdoor area with like I don't know if that's must be a hot tub or a pool.
Mm-hmm.
There's a deck area for the teens as well.
I want to say 6+ years ago that a lot of this space used to be like the crew bar and the crew relaxation area. I'm almost positive that at least the outdoor space was, and that the older teen stuff, the Vibe was like up in one of the stacks, one of the smokestacks.
I don't know. That's where Edge is right now.
That's where Edge is now. I could be wrong. This could be blasphemous, but I'm pretty sure that all the stuff has changed around. I was really impressed with Vibe. Like it seemed like a
nice.
really cool place for older teens to hang out.
I'm sure eventually Sterling will want to hang out in that area.
Oh, absolutely.
This time around, he was old enough where if we granted him permission, he could go hang out in the Edge Club.
Right.
This is generally for 11 to 14-year-olds, but 10-year-olds can get in with parent approval. And since he was literally just like 3 weeks away from turning 11, I'm like, yeah, sure, he can do that.
And that Vibe is 14 and up?
14 to 17.
17, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, once you turn 18, you don't get to go to the kids' clubs anymore.
Wah.
But they do have something called 1820 Society that has like little activities for the 18 to 20-year-olds because, they can't, I don't know. I mean, they can get into the adult areas. They just can't drink, basically. But I know they have other activities for that age group.
Yes.
I don't know that I saw any for this.
I remember
trip, though.
hearing about some 1820 Society stuff from
Okay.
like the Facebook group. I didn't see any talking about it online.
Yeah, that's just getting people together. No, I didn't see anything on the Navigator app
Oh, interesting.
specifically for, and usually they have something. There's like meetups that are sponsored by Disney, but I don't remember seeing anything.
Interesting. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's not something we've ever paid attention to.
No.
So
Next time
yeah.
we'll take a look. Because our next cruise with the kids is next December, and Caitlin will not be able to go to any of the clubs anymore.
That said, she didn't go to the clubs this time either.
Yeah, she didn't go this time either, but that's okay.
We had our own 18 to
Yes.
whatever society. Yeah.
Edge was really nice. It was a lot smaller than I was remembering or expecting it to be. It was a lot smaller.
Yeah.
Sterling was very happy to be going there, though, and he spent a lot of his time there and a lot of his time with kids that he met up there.
Yes. In fact, I remember we got a text message from him the second day that basically just said, Oceaneer sucks.
Yeah.
I'll be at the Edge. I'm like, wow.
Yes.
Okay. There you have it.
There you have it. Yep.
He is definitely keen to be with the older kids, for sure.
Yep. About that time that we finished our tours of all the kids' clubs, it was time for us to go to our room and check out our stateroom.
Yeah, it was about 2:00. Concierge is ready earlier than regular rooms.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a little before 2, we headed to our room, and boy howdy, this was a very nice room.
We were in a 1-bedroom concierge suite.
Yes, we were in 12506, and it is just absolutely stunning space.
Mm-hmm.
I think the best part of it, frankly, is the veranda. It's on the starboard side, on the right side, towards the front of the ship, and it is on the front part of one of the bump outs. And so your veranda, your deck, is kind of twice as deep as most of the other ones, but it's rounded off a little bit towards the left side, towards the front of the ship. And so basically you have an opportunity to face forward. Yeah. There is our deck, our room, and then there is one standard ocean view with veranda room that's in front of us. And then it is the front of the deck. That is where the Roy Disney suite wraps around the front of the ship. So really you have an unobstructed view forward from that corner. It's really fantastic.
It's quite nice.
Yes.
Yeah. I do try as much as I can when booking rooms to get ones that have a little bit larger verandas.
Yeah.
We spend a lot of time out on our veranda, whether it's just enjoying the ocean or just sitting and reading. In the evenings, we just like doing that. It's quiet, it's enjoyable. So having one that has a little bit extra room on there is kind of nice.
Absolutely. And the room had, I actually think it was a king size bed for us, and a nice full bathroom with a jacuzzi tub in it. It was quite spacious.
And a shower.
There was a dining space. It had a round dining table with 4 chairs. It had a nice couch that was a fold-out couch in front of the TV, and that hide-to-bed couch is where Caitlin slept. Mm-hmm. And then there was a pull-down Murphy bed as well. That is where Sterling slept.
Yep. And there was curtain dividers between the living room and the Murphy bed area.
Yeah, it wasn't really just a curtain. It was actually kind of what do you call it? It wasn't a pocket door, but it was like a divided door that like slid past each other to close off the bedroom.
No, I'm not talking about the bedroom. I'm talking about in between the living room and where the Murphy bed is.
Oh, yes. So the kids didn't have to look at each other.
Yeah, so the kids didn't have to look at each other.
Yeah.
And the bedroom itself that we were in, yes, it had like pocket dividers. It like totally enclosed the room.
Yeah. Which to me is the one thing I don't like about this layout, in that we had the luxury to stay in a 1-bedroom on the Wonder once for our first Panama Canal trip back in 2013. And on the Wonder, the bedroom is right next to the veranda. So
Yeah,
you have
it has
two,
veranda access.
right? It
Yeah.
has veranda access. Whereas here, with those doors all closed off, you're in your little box and you don't have veranda access. I would have loved the ability to get out of the room to the deck if I woke up earlier in the morning and not disturb like Caitlin, who was trying to sleep right there.
Yeah. We had to walk right by, and it is dark in that room.
Yeah, it was.
Very dark.
Which you appreciated.
Yes.
Yes.
I did. Yeah.
Sleep with one eye.
Yep.
Yo.
This room was great. It was
Yeah.
beautiful. It was very spacious. There was plenty of storage. The kids had their own bathroom.
Mm-hmm. The other weird thing is the closet here in this room is disconnected from the main
master.
bedroom.
Yeah.
So like there's a walk-in closet, fantastic, but you have to go out into the hallway to get to the closet.
Yep.
So yeah, I didn't realize that until the the first morning. I was like, I don't have anything to change into without waking people up. So
Yep.
Anyhow, that was we lived to figure that out.
Yes. Yeah. This is a nice room. If we can do concierge again, I wouldn't mind doing this. But I do prefer the one bedrooms on the Wonder more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just the layout. I like the layout better.
Mm-hmm.
But the lounge area on the Fantasy is quite nice.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. The concierge lounge is absolutely fantastic. And that hadn't been changed too much. The downstairs lounge is kind of how I remember it. They have a bar in the evening. They have snacks kind of all day. They have continental breakfast and pastries and things and some cereals and things like that in the morning. It's fantastic. Really enjoy that. What had changed quite substantially was the sun deck up top, which is accessible from a set of stairs that are right there in the concierge lounge. And there's also 2 doors that you can scan your key to the world card and get access to from the deck there, up on 12, 13, 12.
It's not 12 because
No,
we're
it would be
on
13.
12. So, it's
So
13.
up on 13. And it feels like it's bigger than it was before. And they absolutely have installed a permanent sunshade structure up there.
I love that they did this.
Glorious.
Yes.
Yeah. I spent several hours up there in the shade, in the nice breeze as we were underway on our first day or two, just enjoying being outside and not being broiled.
Yes. It was quite nice. Last time we were on the Fantasy, I had to stay away from the sun deck because it was too sunny and I can't be out in the heat for a long time. Yeah. I'm weak.
They had some like umbrellas and stuff like that up on the sun deck before, but it wasn't like this. The sun deck is mostly shaded at this point. It's open, and you can definitely find sunny spots on the sun deck.
Yeah. If you want to enjoy the sun, there's definitely spots up there, but there's also the big sun shade up there as well.
Yeah.
At this point, after our little stateroom tour and checking for our bags and everything, it was, I think, about time to head down to the deck party.
Yep, it was.
Yeah.
And with concierge, we get our bags kind of first. Yeah. And we were missing a bag. And so I stayed behind and was working with our hosts to find the other bag, and I had the air tag in it, so I was like, hey, it's still over on the dock. So they were able to go find it, and that was quite nice. But yeah, Alicia and Sterling and Caitlin went out and met up with the crew.
Yeah. Sterling wanted to dance for the party, so we stayed down on the main deck there, deck 11. Is it deck 11? Yes, deck 11. And I believe the rest of the crew wanted to be on 12.
Yep.
But Sterling wanted to be on the main deck so he could dance. He can have fun with people. So we stayed down there for the sail away party, which is always very fun.
Yeah, and our bag eventually showed up, and I made my way up onto 13 or 12, sorry, and found the rest of the crew. that was up there and promptly proceeded to walk over and photobomb them because they didn't see me coming. And they were getting ready to take a big picture. And yeah, it was a great way to announce my presence. Just all of a sudden pop up behind
Nice.
Rachel as she was trying to take a picture.
Yep. After the sail away party, Sterling and I went up, and we were up there for a little bit. We didn't have any sunscreen on, and
Yeah.
I was really worried because the sun was very intense, and I burn so quickly. So I think I hightailed it out of there pretty quickly. But I got some nice pictures of the Fantasy as it was leaving the Point Canaveral, I guess,
The
is
port
what you would call
as it was going to sea.
Yes. Right, we went past all that. Yeah, then I think just went back to the room. We had a show that night. I know we had a show that night. Something.
Did we have a show that night?
There was something that night. We
I don't
didn't write a
remember.
lot of notes down.
No,
we
we
were
were
just enjoying the cruise.
yes, and the company. We kind of
And the
got right to
company.
work
Yes.
testing bars and other
Yeah.
other things that needed to be stress tested.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dinner that evening was in Animator's Palette. And this was the one where Crush would come out and talk with everybody. And unfortunately, we were not at a table that was close enough for us to talk to Crush. And
No.
I think that was just because of how many people we had at
Yeah.
the table.
We had
They
8
couldn't-
people.
Yeah, they couldn't fit it closer to the screens where you could talk to Crush, which is kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
Those interactions are always really funny. But this menu, I like this menu a lot because it has the black truffle pasta per sets, which I love so much. And it has the baked potato and cheddar cheese soup too.
Also very good.
hmm Although I think it wasn't as good as it has been in the past.
Yeah.
For
Again,
the soup, yeah. this
here's
time
where
around,
some of the things were just
not quite up to snuff.
not quite what we were used to.
Yeah.
I did order a grilled cheese, and I don't think they quite understood that I brought a kid's dinner of a grilled cheese with
Yes.
some French fries and some carrots and a thing of broccoli. And I was like, okay,
So-
just wanted the grilled cheese, but it's fine.
Because we haven't covered our 2020 cruise yet in our trip reports,
Yes,
you, dear listeners, do not know this tale.
right.
So we'll do a really quick synopsis right now. On our 2020 cruise, westbound Panama Canal, for some reason, I don't know exactly how it happened. I guess Nathan just really wanted a grilled cheese.
It was like halfway. We were like halfway through the cruise.
Yep.
We got to dinner one night, and none of the appetizers looked appetizing for
Yep.
whatever reason. And I just asked Jorge, I'm like, hey, bud, can I just get like a grilled cheese? And he's like, yeah, sure, we'll make that happen. Totally. And yeah, so I had a grilled cheese for one of my appetizer courses. And then I asked for grilled cheese the next night too, because why not? And it wasn't as good. I forget which restaurant it was. And I had opinions, and I shared those opinions. I mean, with a smile and everything.
Yeah.
But
With Jorge and with our head server too.
like, because he came over and asked, like, how
Yeah.
was it? I was like, well. And then from that moment on,
It became a thing.
it became a thing, and the grilled cheeses escalated.
Yes.
Quality was on point.
Yes.
And by the end of the cruise,
They're delivering platters.
we had, I think the last night, we had 2 platters of grilled cheese sandwiches delivered. And we ended up going around like the dining room and like
just-
offering people grilled cheese sandwiches. It was pretty amazing.
And people loved it too. I mean,
Yes.
just the other diners, it was fun. It was
We
very
were
fun.
that table. So
Yes, we were that table. So Nathan, for this cruise, Nathan wanted a grilled cheese, and this is the
Yes.
first time he had asked for one. And dear listeners, it is not super easy for them to just whip something up on the fly like this.
I don't
So
understand.
you know, this type of kitchen just does not do that unless you talk with them ahead of time. So what was delivered was not quite what was expected.
no, it was okay,
Yeah.
but it was a kid's platter. Like I think somebody put in the order and said, hey, like, because they'll bend over backwards for kids.
Yeah.
Not that they don't for adults, but like if a kid wants like, hey, I just want some buttered noodles and some like, a hot dog sauteed, like they're like, yep, let's do it.
Yep.
And so, yeah, they rang it in as a kid's grilled cheese dinner. And okay, that's fine.
It was toast with a slice of cheese inside it. Basically.
I mean, it was a grilled cheese. It was okay.
This one doesn't look like it was grilled. It really just looks like a piece of toast.
Yeah, it wasn't amazing.
Yeah. It came with French fries and broccoli and carrots too.
Yeah, also not what I needed. Yeah. I just wanted it's fine.
Just wanted grilled cheese. Yeah.
Anyhow.
But
we'll move on.
Yes, my appetizer was very good. The black truffle pasta per sets. Then we had the baked potato and cheddar cheese soup. Nathan had his grilled cheese.
Yep.
For main course, I had the lemon thyme marinated all natural chicken breast, which was very good. It was nice and juicy. The skin was crispy in areas on the outside, and the vegetables, I think is what it was, that they had around it. The presentation of this dish was really nice.
Yeah, it was really cool. I had a ginger teriyaki dusted Angus beef tenderloin, which was good. It was on a bed of potatoes. I remember the potatoes were kind of dry, but it wasn't horrible.
Yeah, I can tell just by looking at the picture the potatoes do actually look dry.
Yeah. It was a thing. It was what it was.
Yep.
It was okay.
Sterling had chicken tenders.
Yes. And I think Caitlin had the same thing you did, right?
I don't know. Probably. She had the same as one of us. I don't know if it was the chicken or the steak.
Yeah.
For desserts, there was an option on the no sugar added dessert menu for a deconstructed carrot cake.
Yes.
And this looked really weird.
It was very weird. It was like a cake round with, I don't know. There was a sliced carrot. There was some like a cream cheese cube, some nuts on top of it was weird. It was definitely deconstructed. That is for sure.
Yeah. Not much of a frosting option on there at all.
No, I mean, it was kind of to that degree. It was the antithesis of the carrot cake that I had for lunch. Like if I could merge those two, that would have been perfect.
Would have worked out well.
Yeah, exactly.
And I had a chocolate fudge cheesecake, and that was quite delicious. We don't have any pictures from that evening. I'm sure we spent some time at a bar.
Oh, yeah.
Just hanging out.
Oh, yeah. There was an elephant was our towel animal.
Yes.
For that evening. Sterling enjoyed punching the head off of said elephant.
Yep.
In the room, as you do.
As you do. And we had something new. This is one of the things that they have changed on the cruise is the chocolates that you get in the evening time.
Okay.
When they turn down your bed
yes.
and ready the room, get your towel animal. They provide you with a couple of chocolates as well. It used to be little Ghirardelli squares. Actually, before that, it was just unbranded chocolates that had a picture of Sleepy on them. And then they moved to the Ghirardelli chocolates. And now they have moved on to Dove milk chocolates. And I love Dove, so this is awesome. And it's just a little tiny 4-pack or a bar, basically, that has 4 little pieces of Dove chocolate in there.
Yeah. And I'm smart enough to stay out of the way and don't touch those. I'll get my hands broken.
Yummy.
Yeah.
All right. So this conversation got away from us just a little bit. We're reminiscing a little too hard, I guess. So we are going to cut this one into 2 episodes. It was not our original intent, but, well, we like to talk. Apparently.
Indeed. So we're going to leave this one here. We're going to put a pin in it, as they say, and we will pick up where we left off next week.
All right. So thanks for sticking with us. We'll continue on next week.
Indeed. In the meantime, we remain not affiliated with Disney.
Exactly.
If you want to plan an amazing vacation, we highly recommend you work with a travel agent.
If you have any questions or suggestions, please email us. The address is podcast@adventuresinmousecapades.com, and follow us on socials @OurMousecapades. Take a moment, rate and review us in your podcast app to help people find us.
Thanks again, and you'll hear more of this next week.
Thank you for flying Star Tours. Bye-bye.